Ho, 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 everybody. Welcome. We are so excited to talk about another Christmas horror movie. Is this really good? We are talking about a Christmas horror story movie from 2015 with the one and only Mr. William Shatner in there. So kind of exciting. So welcome today to Two Geeks and a Microphone.
Hello there. So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone show. I am your co-host, Mr. Stephen Boster, along with the one, the only, the most Christmassy super duper Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom land. Are you like turning Irish or something? You kind of had this good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. I used to sing this song to my boys to get them to wake up in the morning because it's quite annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying.
And they were always like, Dad, stop. You know, kind of.
I would have threw something at you.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they wanted to.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's where that comes from a little bit. And so that's how I say it. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning.
I thought maybe you ate your Lucky Charms this morning or something.
Ooh.
They're magically delicious.
Right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We are continuing our series on Christmas horror movies. And how did we come across this one? This was a
suggestion by the Three Geeky Dads.
Yes. I remember I know we were doing our 200th episode, and I remember them saying, "Oh, it was a good one," you know, kind of a thing. And so that I couldn't remember though if we had told them, or they were just reinforcing it, or if they gave us the idea.
I was a little worried that they were just setting us up for revenge for Werewolf Santa.
For Werewolf Santa, they had every right to do so if that was the case.
This is true. I don't think they were setting us up though. But I'm not going to get too deep into it. It was a decent movie. It was decent.
Yeah, we'll get into it. I'm excited about talking about it. Actually,
nobody shot their eye out though. I was a little disappointed with that.
Right? I thought for sure that would happen. You know, Christmas story, a Christmas horror story.
Christmas horror story. You shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah, there were no Red Ryder BB guns. That was why I did not score mine as high as I probably could have.
No, there was no Red Ryder leg lamps. You know, that would have been great in this too. A leg lamp. I mean, you could have literally ripped off somebody's leg and made it into a lamp. You know.
Oh,
come on, let me write this stuff.
You should. I'm telling you, it's pretty good. Oh my goodness. Well, with that being said, I do want to jump into our stories, but we got it. We're going to hit, did you have any geeky news?
I have no geeky news today. So
no geeky news today.
We'll skip over the geeky news and we'll head right into the Geek Dark because I got something special for Geek Dark.
Sweet.
Go with the radar, sir.
What's wrong with it?
I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps.
The what?
The what?
And the what?
You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps.
That's not all he's lost.
The great Michael Winslow. You know, he was on Love Boat not too long, or well, I mean, he was on a episode of Love Boat that we rewatched not too long ago, and
I gotcha.
I didn't know that he was actually a part of the Love Boat cast. I guess in the later years, that must have been after I quit watching Love Boat, and I was like, Michael Winslow was part of the cast. I didn't know that, and he was doing his sounds and everything. It was pretty funny. He wasn't quite as good then as he is, now, or for that matter, even in the late 80s, like in Spaceballs, but you could see it developing. It was kind of neat. You know, I was like, oh, okay, this is where
Was it? He was also Police Academy, right?
Yeah, Police
He was
Academy.
good in Police Academy. I think recently, though, in the last couple of years, wasn't he on America's Got Talent?
Yes, he was. Yes,
nice.
He was actually a one of the contestants on America's, which blew my mind. I was like, really? You should be up there on the panel, not as a contestant, dude. You're a celebrity, man. You're already a celebrity. You don't need to be in there. But he was trying to reestablish his career at that point because he had left Hollywood for a long time. And
I think it was a family thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Wasn't it family?
I think his wife passed away, and then and then he kind of left Hollywood, was kind of, you know, depressed and so on and so forth, and then he wanted to get back into it, so he went on America's Got Talent. So I think he should have been a host, or you know, one of the judges, but yeah, whatever. So anyway, for nice little departure there.
It's all good.
Little sidetrack.
Squirrel.
Just wanted to recognize the great Michael Winslow, because I think
absolutely.
Anyway, so for my Geek Dart today, I got something really special. So we've had on the show twice. Carissa Grant. Oh, I couldn't think of her name for just a second there. Sorry, Carissa. I talked to her quite a bit on Facebook too. Anyway, we had Carissa Grant, and she featured her comic, Worthy Chaos Redemption. And I didn't buy the single issues because I was holding out on her latest campaign, which was all of them bound together in a nice hardback edition.
Ooh.
This book, beautiful. Oh my gosh. She did a great.
I like that cover.
Oh, isn't that gorgeous? It's awesome. Now check out the back. The back is really cool too. And she's got a plushie of Anubis.
Yes. Yeah.
She has a plushie of him that was available in one of the tiers, but she just announced that she's going to make it available single, so you can actually purchase it from her singly. But yeah, it's a hardback book. The pages, it's very nicely put together, very nicely bound. The pages are really sturdy and vibrant colors. I mean, it is a gorgeous book. Let me see if I can find one of the covers, because she got each cover to each of the single issues is in here too. Trying to find something. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that one's very Buffy the Vampire Slayer ish looking.
Yeah.
So that's an example of the interior.
Yep. Now, for those who may be watching this and not know the story behind that,
well, wait. I got. Hold on. Along with it, I got two other things here. So I got a Anubis and Hellhound magnet.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I like that. And this is super cool. I got a gold Anubis coin. That was going to be hard to see. Yes, my green screen. It's not showing through the green screen. That's too bad, because it's really super cool. Okay, sorry. I just had to show those two also.
Yeah, no, I was just letting people know that just with the whole concept behind it is, it's really a what's the term for it when it's kind of like is it lit RPG?
Something like that. Something. Yeah. Go back and watch her episodes.
Right.
She explains it on there.
Yeah, and how they get to it. But so it's really interesting. It's a great concept, and she's fun to have on the show. We've had her twice now?
Yeah, we've had her twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Carissa. She's pretty fun, and she has a tendency to take over the episode too when she's on.
Yeah, we have fun with it. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, very cool.
So that's
Very
my geek
cool.
dart today.
Right on.
Chris Grant's Worthy Chaos Redemption. Good book. Check it out.
Cool. My geek dar is primarily I have returned to the world of Oak Island. I watched the show The Curse of Oak Island, and it's now back on History Channel. This is their good night 10th season and stuff, where they've been trying to find this treasure on this island in Nova Scotia, and no matter how you look at it, I mean, it's kind of like, oh gosh, find treasure already, will ya? Kind of a thing. But you can't deny that they have found, wood tunnels and things like that. I mean, 100 feet down below the surface, they have found like a whole docking area underneath the water. This was like a couple of seasons, several seasons ago, in this bay. They think it's actually 2 islands that were kind of put together. They have found roadways, cobblestone roadways. They have found coins that go back to, they have some Roman coins even
Oh, wow.
that they have found and stuff. So they're looking for this big treasure, and they've done all these different kind of underground scans, LiDAR, these little explosion things. They just got the results from one that took 2 years to do this type of scan.
Is this going to be like when Telly Savalas revealed what was in the Titanic? I think it was the Titanic that he had the big episode on years and years and years ago, and it was just kind of this bust.
That was Geraldo Rivera with the Al Capone's vaults.
Well, yeah, there was that also.
Which was a big old bust too. Right. Yeah. So
yeah.
They, no matter how you spend it, there's a lot of interesting characters. We like this one guy who does the metal detecting, and he's always got fun phrases, and he's my favorite character of the whole show. He's always said like top pocket find, something that he finds that's, I love it. And, when they found the Roman coin, he was like, "It's Roman, baby," kind of a thing. He's so funny.
What is he, Mike Myers?
I don't know, but he's quite animated. So they're back for the season, and last season they were able to build or rebuild a shaft going down, and they've got down to about 80 feet. And usually what happens is the weather moves in, and so they have to stop for the season, and then they come back. And so now we're back. And so they got permission now they're cleaning out the shaft from the season. So all the water and everything, and they know there's gold somewhere down there, and which is really fascinating based upon doing water samples and stuff like that. So
there's gold in them dar here hills.
That's right. And so it's just unique. They find all these unique things. Now they haven't found any real like a depository of treasure yet, but it's there. But they have found connections to the Knights Templar. Oh, wow. They have found just all kinds of stuff. It's just been fascinating. So
he chose poor.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, they're saying people have got all kinds of crazy rumors, like it's they're going to find the Ark of the Covenant, they're going to find the Holy Grail, they're going to find all these treasures from the Knights Templar that they deposited, kind of a thing. So it is really interesting. We're back, and so I always watch the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes. That's all I need.
Well, if they find the Ark of the Covenant, I hope they watch Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right. Agreed.
And for that matter, if they find the cup, I hope they watched Indiana Jones in the Temple in the Last Crusade. So
yeah. Hey, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny's on Disney Plus now.
Oh yeah. It's okay. It's okay. It's better than the last one. It's still definitely not my favorite. Raiders and Last Crusader, definitely the best Indiana Jones movies of all time.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Indiana Jones hat actually. This one.
Nice. It's an okay movie. It's not fabulous. It's not terrible though. That was my thought.
Right on.
it wasn't really the way I would like to see Indy go out. And, you know, I wished he would have had a better film to go out on, but it was okay. It was okay. I'll just give it that.
Gotcha. Right on. Okay. Are we set to go to?
Oh, our main event?
Let's do it. It's time for the main event. Okay, everybody, I'm going to be open with you. I shot a Facebook chat to our friends at Three Geeky Dads, and I included Mike on it. And it was a Facebook chat. And I said, hey, thanks. I'm really enjoying this movie. And then I'm watching it. And I was like, oh, and I shot that chat as I was kind of watching it. And all of a sudden, there's this great big twist at the end of the film. And I was like, holy crap, you know, because I didn't see the twist coming. There's actually 2 twists, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And Mike immediately goes, save it for the podcast.
As River Song from Doctor Who would say, spoilers.
Yeah, right.
I need to get a sound clip of her saying that. I always love it.
Oh, we should. What a great idea.
Spoilers.
Right on.
She says it so great. She has such a sultry voice. She's fantastic. Yeah. So we watched a Christmas Horror Story. It was suggested to us by the Three Geeky Dads. I believe Derek may have thrown that one out. I can't remember exactly who suggested it. And luckily we found it on
Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi. So didn't have to pay anything for it. That's a huge plus in its favor.
I love it, especially after the Werewolf Santa incident. It's called the incident now.
Oh, I have to tell you something. So I purchased that on iTunes, right? And for the longest time, you know, I bring up iTunes and it shows like your latest purchase, and then it shows like what the latest hot movie is, and then some other things at the top, you know, some big thumbnails of it, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so for the longest time, I keep staring at Werewolf Santa. I'm like, oh God, go away, go. And you can't like delete it. You know, it won't, you know, it won't go away. So I was like, crap, I got it. So I recently went and seen Godzilla -1. Highly recommend that. And a lot of people were saying it's by the same makers who made Godzilla Shin, which came out in 2016. Well, I saw a real good deal for Godzilla Shin on Apple Movies for $4.99, and I went, I'll buy that, and then hopefully Werewolf Santa will go away and Godzilla Shin will get there, right? So I buy it, and what happens? Godzilla Shin goes up there, and Werewolf Santa just moves over. I'm like, damn it! Get rid of it! And then yesterday I popped it on, and something else popped up in place of Werewolf Santa, and I literally cheered. I'm like, it's gone! It's finally gone! Well, then Brenda and I watched something, and then when we went back to the main screen, all of a sudden it came back again. I went, no! I can't get this thing to go away.
It's your curse for.
It is. I'm cursed, man. Apple TV is laughing at me. That's what they're doing. They're like, oh, we're going to torture you. So, but it did finally go away again last night. Hopefully it's gone for good.
You never know.
Although every time I bring up my catalog, I will still see it.
Oh gosh, that's funny. That's funny. All right. Well,
the curse of the werewolf.
Right.
Or the curse of, what did we call him? The Gray Grinch.
Right.
Oh,
well, here is the Wikipedia thing is A Christmas Horror Story is a 2015 Canadian anthology horror film directed by Grant Harvey, Stephen Hoban, and Brett Sullivan. It premiered July 20th, 2015 at the Fantasia International Film Festival and had a limited theatrical release on October 2nd, 2015, along with the video on demand release. The film is a series of interwoven stories tied together by a framework story featuring William Shatner as a radio DJ. Wasn't he called Dangerous
Dan.
Dangerous Dan?
I love Dangerous Dan.
I really enjoy Dangerous Dan too, just saying. Oh, yeah. Plot. Dangerous Dan is an alcoholic radio DJ stuck pulling a long shift at the Bailey Downs radio station during Christmas. During his broadcast, he keeps receiving notices of a disturbance at the local mall, telling his listeners to stay away. Dan keeps playing this music while a series of 4 stories are witnessed. And so there's the 4 stories. One story is where these kids break into the school.
Yes.
Another story is there's a
family going for a Christmas tree.
Family going for the Christmas tree. That's a better way to say that one. Yes, agreed. And then there was the family visiting their rich relative, rich aunt.
Yeah.
And then then there's Santa and his elves are turning into zombie.
Honestly, I want a full movie of that.
I have to admit that the concept between all these was really good. So, but once it begins to go through the stories, like the first 45 minutes is really setting everything up, the different characters and all that. I mean, not much really happens.
Back and forth between the stories. It's not like Twilight Zone style where, if you watch the Twilight Zone movie, it's set up just like Twilight Zone is. And you get the introduction to the story, you get the story, and then you get the introduction to the second story, and so on and so forth. With this one, you kind of flip back and forth between the different stories that are going on. It wasn't a bad concept. I liked it. Sometimes, I mean, and the stories were different enough that you don't get confused, because if they would have been more similar,
they were unique enough. Yeah, good call. Yeah, agreed.
Because I could see this being a really confusing movie had they been very similar stories. But since each story was, like you said, very unique, it was easy to determine, okay, I'm in this story now.
They seem to start becoming more similar, or there are certain elements of it that were bringing them all together as it continued.
Right.
And as I said, there's a twist. I thought I had it figured out, kind of a twist. I'm like, oh no. And then I was like, oh wait, that's not the twist. And then this crazy twist at the end. It's like, oh, what?
I'm really looking forward to hearing what your idea of the twist was.
The first one?
I kind of thought I had an idea, but yeah, it kind of went out the window. So I wonder if they're similar, because we have not discussed this like usual. We try not to, although Steven tried to give away the plot twist to me.
Oops.
Dude, save it for the podcast.
Right.
That was so funny.
Yep. So in general, it's this where you have this story, and within the story it's all around Bailey Downs, and you realize all the stories. This is not really this isn't a spoiler. I'm trying to stay out of the spoilerific territory here, but they're all connected somehow, some way around Bailey Downs, this area, Bailey Downs. And even the box, or the when you look at, like, I think I rented it off of Vudu, they say, it's the town of Bailey Downs. And so you don't realize how connected they really are until you really get to the end. And I thought it was pretty good. So the question is, what do we use for our scale?
Yeah, I was trying to think of what we could use for that.
I would like to say Krampus statues.
Okay, yeah, That's a good one. I was either going to say that or Santa used a axe at one point. But yeah, I like Krampus statues. That's cool. All right.
Okay, Krampus statues. We're going with
I'm
Krampus
kind of
statues.
getting into the Krampus character a lot more now that we
Right.
watched the Krampus movie, and he was a big part of this too.
He was. It was that in one of the stories where you have the wealthy family or the family seeing the wealthy relative, wealthy aunt. She had a Krampus statue that the little boy, the little grandson, with a little attitude, dropped and broke and kind of a thing and stuff. I'm like, oh, he's dead. You know, that's one of those things where you're like, oh, bratty kid, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, that whole family is kind of messed up.
Right? Just when you think, you're like, oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll get into each of the stories, everybody. We're trying to give them an overview. So I actually enjoyed this movie. Not like enjoyed like, oh my goodness, I got to watch this again every year kind of a thing. Nah.
Yeah, it's
Nah.
definitely not a
It's a one and done thing because
right. It doesn't make the rotation, but it's good enough to watch once.
Right, it is. Some people may want to watch it twice once you learn kind of the whole story all at once and then go back and watch again because it is really hard to follow. The first 45 minutes were hard to follow when it was setting everything up kind of a thing. And like, where are we kind of going with this? Because you're not for sure how the stories are going. And I thought it was going to be Dangerous Dan telling all these weird Christmas stories, but obviously not. But my favorite part, so I'm just going to say this, my favorite part, non-spoilery, was William Shatner, by far.
Oh yeah, I agree. William Shatner makes this movie. Without William Shatner, this movie is not that great.
Yeah.
He is fantastic in this. I love him and he's perfect as a radio DJ too.
Right. Yeah. And I have to say this was the first role of William Shatner that he was not William Shatnery.
This is true.
I was really paying attention going, oh my goodness. It's not hey, listeners, welcome to Dangerous Dan Show. You know, it wasn't anything like that. I mean, he was just rolling off the tongue, quick sentences, or, you know, I mean, and then his pauses or looking over at his wife or, you know, is like, why is it, you know, and then he's sitting there drinking, you know, and I mean, it's just,
I think he's drinking JB. I think that's what he was drinking.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it was JB.
I wondered, but oh my gosh, it was so good. I could only imagine like they get William Shatner to do the role. I mean, really, all they had to do, they probably did everything in one day, probably within 1 hour, because he was just hysterical.
Oh,
I mean, it was just.
Well, I doubt it was 1 hour because, you know, William Shatner, he's probably cracking up and making all kinds of jokes and, you know, doing all kinds. I'll bet you there was a lot of fun outtakes for this film. I would love to see the William Shatner outtakes for this. It'd be fantastic. But he is great as a radio DJ. I don't think they could have got anyone better to play this part. He was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely
really
the
was.
best part of the film.
Yeah, and it was always a treat when we went from between the stories back to Dangerous Dan.
Yes.
And
I would say the next highlight is Santa Claus. I really like Santa Claus a lot in this. I thought he looked good, and he was just, I don't know, he was this cool Santa. I really liked him.
Yeah. It was really interesting, the compassion that Santa had, but when it came time to taking care of business, Santa took care of business.
He sure did. He sure did. Santa would fit in awesomely in a Walking Dead. He would be, oh my gosh, he'd be a better leader in Walking Dead than Rick would. Hands down. Oh man, now I want a Walking Dead with Santa Claus.
Right. Yeah, so I give it a good solid 7 out of 10.
Okay.
7 out of 10 Krampus statues.
I will give it 6.5.
Okay.
6.5 Krampus statues. Again, highlights is definitely William Shatner. Fantastic. Loved him.
Mhm.
Santa Claus was the next best thing in this movie.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
then-
Yes.
Number three is Krampus. I really like Krampus. And then as
The
far as
Krampus in this one?
yes.
Yes. I enjoyed the Krampus in this one.
I thought he was great. And I wanted more of Santa versus Krampus. I was left going, oh crap, I want that movie. Well, spoilers.
Yeah. No, that's all right. No, there's Krampus, and the big battle at the end is Krampus versus Santa. So it was, yeah, but I would concur. I did like this version of Krampus.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I did enjoy.
I was trying
this
to get
version.
something ready for us.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Spoil.
All right.
So then, yeah, I did like this version of Krampus. It was kind of like a abominable snowman Krampus, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And I liked him.
Maybe the look, I don't know. The look of the Krampus we watched a couple weeks ago, his look might have been slightly better, but I don't know. I just like this Krampus a lot. I thought he was really good.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I like the whole aspect of Santa Claus versus Krampus.
Mhm.
That is a great idea. It's
Mhm.
excellent idea. So
Yep. Mike, spoiler alert warning is broken. That's Theron. I hate Theron.
no, it's just me not being ready. That's all.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. I really want to talk about these different stories in a little more detail because it's important to know what they are in order to really talk about the ending. And so we are going to head into spoilerific territory. So just want to give everybody a heads up. We are spoiler alert. So if you have not, that was quick. You got it.
That was River Song with your sultry spoilers. Gotta love it.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
All right, so we are in spoilerific territory, folks. If you have not watched this film and you don't want to be spoiled on it, please stop the video. As our friend Zig from Nerdy and Murdy would say, we'll wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
All right. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Well, so I'm going off the Wikipedia page because I thought, oh, there's a nice general thing and I don't want to miss anything. So the first story is we have Dylan, Ben, and Molly Simon, who have decided to break into their school, which used to be a convent, to investigate the murders of two students, one whom was Dan's grandson, which is we didn't get that until later, and I didn't pick that up until later.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
So every one of these stories you don't get until really the last 15 minutes, the connections between them all. Because one of the things, by the time we got to the end, remember when Danger Stan was like, what is it with Bailey Downs and Christmas? You know, all the, you know, we always have these things happen. So the two students happened a year earlier. It's when they died. So if I remember right,
Yes,
it was a year before. It was the Christmas before. Their friend Caprice was supposed to go, but instead she has to go with her parents out of town. The three of them end up getting locked in the basement. Molly becomes possessed after witnessing a bloody ghost and tries to seduce Dylan. When he refuses her, Molly kills him. Possessed Molly, I would say. Molly successfully seduces Ben, and after the act is finished, the ghost leaves Molly's body. Upon waking, Molly reveals that the ghost is actually a pregnant teenager named Grace who died when the school was a convent after the nuns gave her a gruesome abortion. The ghost is only interested in having someone give birth to her child, and if they refuse, they are murdered, explaining last year's deaths. Despite having successfully gotten Molly pregnant, the ghost sees Ben holding a weapon, which is viewed as a threat, and the ghost kills him. The ghost then unlocks the door and allows Molly to leave. That's a good summary.
Yeah, except I don't quite understand the whole premise of that one. Is okay, so it says that she kills anyone who refuses to have the baby or whatever. And to me, it was like, well, I mean, he didn't refuse. He was just like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I think it was anyone who's viewed as a threat is how I would say.
I guess, but I didn't even think he was a threat,
Right.
I don't know.
Right. It just goes to show everybody, just like in the movie Scream, that the virgins always win, or they always survive. But if they don't keep their virginity, they get killed.
Oh,
Let
so
that be a lesson to all you teenagers out there.
That's why, because I think he lost his virginity right there.
That was my thought, to be open with you. That's what my thought. I thought I was like, aha.
not to be crude or anything, but anyway, because we do have some families that watch this.
Right. Right.
Of course, this is not exactly the
movie.
most. Yeah, this isn't the most friendly family friendly.
It is not. It is not by any means. Okay.
In fact, Brenda watched a couple minutes and she went, "I'm out. I'm done. I quit."
Oh, really?
Yeah, she wasn't going to watch this. Brenda's not a horror fan, though.
Right. Yeah, dadgum 3 geeky dads got me into horror movies now.
We've watched a bunch over the last month and a half.
We have, by golly. Okay, so second story was Scott Peters is a police officer who worked the murder case of the 2 students the year before.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, wow.
If you remember when he was drinking after he yelled at the boy, when he was drinking, he had the case file right there on the table because he was reviewing the case file again.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I was like, oh, there's the connection. Okay, he's one of the investigating officers.
See, I'm completely missed that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew he was a police officer, but I didn't realize the connection with the.
Right. Are you sure you didn't do any Steven skips in this? No, I'm just kidding.
I might have been checking 2 Geeks Facebook at the time.
Gotcha. So on Christmas Eve, much to his wife's reluctance, Scott convinces his family go into the woods owned by Big Earl. I didn't know that was his name. To chop down a Christmas tree for their house. During the trek,
Big Earl.
Yeah, Scott's son Will wanders off and gets lost. He and his wife Kim manage to find Will inside of a tree and are overjoyed to find him. This joy is short-lived after Will begins to act strangely, culminating in Big Earl contacting the family to warn them that Will is actually a changeling. After the changeling kills Scott, Kim brings the changeling to Big Earl, who states that he's unable to help her find her son because it is up to the changelings. This ultimately ends with Kim shooting Big Earl, who is containing the changelings in the grove. Finally free, the changeling returns to his home and frees Will. Now,
I like this story. I thought this was a cool story.
It was creepy.
Yeah.
When she shut the window and the reflection of the window showed that it was a changeling and not her son.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was creepy when he was crawling up her bed and she was asleep. That was just weird, man.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I mean, you knew it was him and everything, but it was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This kid.
And again, this is Bailey Downs. Now, once the dad was like, well, I guess he was a stepdad, really. The officer, when he was like, oh, let's cross this. It says no trespassing. And she's like, no, let's don't go, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, she's like, you're a police officer.
Right. I'm thinking, oh, he's dead. It's like all, people who do, is like, I don't know. But then when the boy disappeared and then came back, it was like, uh-oh, that's probably not her son. It's like, it was creepy. It was real creepy. And then
this felt a lot like a Twilight Zone or Tales from the Dark Side. It really
yes, this one was this story was, yeah. But the connection
this
was
probably felt more like Twilight Zone or Tales than any of the stories did, which I love Twilight Zone. And let me precipit that. I love original Twilight Zone and I love Tales from the Dark Side. Both fantastic. So That's probably why I enjoyed this, because it reminded me of those two shows.
The third story is Caprice and her younger brother Duncan are traveling with their parents, Taylor and Diane, to visit their elderly aunt Etta. During their visit, Etta tells them about the mythological creature Krampus, which frightens Caprice, especially after Duncan purposely destroys a Krampus figure in an attempt to initiate Etta's caretaker, Gerhardt. He looked familiar, by the way. I couldn't remember.
I didn't get that he purposely. I thought he just.
Oh, he purposely did it.
You think he did?
Oh, yeah. It's plain as, yeah, he was just like, oops, kind of a thing.
See, I don't know. I just took it that he accidentally broke it, but he just didn't have any kind of remorse at all. It's like, yeah, whatever. It's a stupid statue. Who cares?
Yeah, no, he purposely did it. And I think that's what set off Gerhardt. Their parents decide to take the children home at Etta's insistence, but on the way they get to a car accident, forcing them to walk. Aware that they were being hunted by Krampus because they acted badly, the family members take refuge in a church where they attempt to confess their sins and believe that Krampus will leave them if they do so. However, they are picked off one by one until only Caprice remains. Caprice manages to flee to Aunt Etta's house. She is successful in killing Krampus, who transforms into Gerhardt. I loved it because she was the whole fire and stuff. And I was like, and then when the Krampus de-transformed back into Gerhardt, I was like, ooh, what an interesting twist. It's not the twist I thought I was talking about, but I enjoyed it. It's revealed he transformed into Krampus due to his anger over the family's actions, and that Etta was fully aware that this would happen. So knowing that, because then you find out it wasn't the figurine that breaking the figurine, because I thought, ooh, the spirit of Krampus came out. He was free. He was imprisoned in the ceramic
that's
Krampus.
What the kid thought too.
Right. I was right there with him, and that was not it. It was the whole concept of, how did she put it? It was like a spirit. It is still a Christmas spirit, but it's the spirit that invades us when we inhabit that anger and rage and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Furious, Caprice's anger causes her to transform into Krampus, and she attacks Etta. And I was like, that was cool. Now, I'm going to come. The reason I wanted to talk about that one specifically is the first two stories was how they were connected to the murders.
Right.
They're connected to Dangerous Dan.
Well, and then she's connected to them because she's friends with the ones that break into the school, and in fact, she even gives them the car keys for the car and everything.
Right.
So that's the connection there. The only one that's not really connected is the Santa Claus story, but then we find out the connection at the end.
Yes. So let's talk about the fourth story without giving the ending away just yet. While preparing for busy Christmas, Santa Claus discovers that all his elves and his wife have turned into zombies. Shoot, there went one right there.
Oh, and they gave Mrs. Claus a name too. What was her name? Because I remember that because last year I watched the Santa Clauses on Disney Plus with Tim Allen, and they talked about how Mrs. Claus never really has a name. And in this, they actually named her. I was pretty impressed with that. I was like, oh, wow. Of course, I forgot her name, but
I forgot her name too. I'm like, dang, I said, Mrs. Santa looks young and hot compared to old Santa Claus. You lucky devil.
Yeah, but Santa was pretty awesome. I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah. So this part, I'm going to hold off because I gave away one of the twists for me personally, but I enjoyed the whole Santa versus the elves. And this is where they tied in Krampus. Right. They said they were, he was like, Krampus is back. You had this, the way they inferred it was Krampus is back. And because of that, Krampus was, there was a sickness or, infecting the elves. Right. Now, the first elf to go down was great.
Oh, the elves were awesome in this.
They were. They,
Foul
you know,
mouth, little.
foul-mouthed, violent, bloody, gory.
Oh,
There,
they
it
were
was
they were fantastic. I
when the
love
first one goes. When the first one goes, he's sitting there going, he's all grumpy and like, "Why are you so grumpy?" And I'm like, ah. My brain went to Grumpy Elf, Snow White and Seven, Grumpy Elf.
Oh,
But then when he started, I mean, just laying out some full-fledged, weighty, colorful metaphors,
yeah. This
I
is
was
not
like,
your father's
this is not your
Santa's elf.
father's what Rankin and Bass Elves Christmas
There
special.
you go. There you go.
I was like, what the?
Definitely not.
And then when he cuts his hand, he like splits his hand, it's like
Oh
all
yeah.
cut and angled because it identifies him again later on.
And then the other elf's got blood splatter all over his face, and he's like almost not even phased by it.
Yeah.
Oh
And
gosh.
so then Santa gets out his Christmas staff that ends up being like this deadly weapon with it, like an axe.
You know what it kind of made me think of? It in one of my all-time favorites Christmas movies, which I do watch every year, which is on the rotation, is Scrooge with Bill Murray.
Mm.
And Bill Murray is the executive of not NBC, I forget, CB, I don't know what they changed the letters and stuff, but
Mhm.
he's the executive of the television company, right? He's the CEO of the television company. And they have these mock commercials for different Christmas specials that they're going to be running. And one of them is the $6 Million Man basically saves Santa Claus and the elves at the North Pole. And the name of the movie is called The Night the Reindeer Died. And all I could think of was that when I saw this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is almost The Night the Reindeer Died.
Right. Oh my goodness.
All we need is a $6 Million Man to show up and help Santa fight.
Yeah. Well, the time within the stories that I really enjoyed was, and this was the first twist for me, or I assumed it was the twist. This is what I thought the twist really was by the time we figure out Caprice turns into Krampus, I thought,
Right.
oh, it's the whole Christmas spirit. I'm like, oh no, Santa's wife turned into Krampus, and unbeknownst to her, she did the elves. That's what I thought.
See, I
the
didn't
twist.
even think of that. That would have been a good twist, though.
And about the time I was thinking that was when it was real that she had changed, into
Right.
she got zombified. I'm like, oh dang. Then I'm thinking, well, who's Krampus? If Krampus is a spirit of someone who got grumpy or angry or selfish or whatever, I thought, well, I wonder what happened, kind of a thing. But see, I totally thought it was Mrs.
See,
Claus.
Krampus was just Krampus in this. There was no, at least I didn't take it that he was the spirit of anyone in this one.
See, I thought that's where the story was headed, though. But
Okay.
since we got Caprice, because I'm like, well, obviously it's not Caprice,
Right.
again, because it's all happening. The way they interwove the stories makes everything's happening in real time,
Right.
and it is. It
Right.
is all happening in real time, or all together at the same time.
But
And-
even by the ants, theory on Krampus is the spirit that overtakes you. Anybody could actually turn.
Yes. And
So
then
it wouldn't have had to been Caprice.
right. So
Right.
then interwoven is Dangerous Dan. And it was just, gosh, William Shatner did such a nice job.
And he's getting drunker by this time too.
He's getting drunker and drunker. But then you realize those connections that he had, and he had the letter from Caprice and Duncan. They had sent him a Christmas card. Did you see that?
Yeah. Okay.
They had sent a Christmas card, and so that was their thing. I was like, so was Dan married to Aunt Edna? No, she's just Aunt Edna or something like that. But anyway, so.
No, I don't think Dan was.
They're all relative somehow, kind of a thing, is how I saw that, possibly. But Dan, it was so funny.
It's a town full of blue bloods.
Right. It's a small town, everybody.
You
Um,
know how those small towns work.
right. So it was interesting because even in there, he's through the whole thing. He's all of a sudden you're like, everybody don't go to the mall. We don't know what's happening in the mall. He's got their, I guess was his weatherman. His weatherman was going to go down and do the food drive
Right.
at the mall. And
And he
we
didn't like
started off this,
Christmas.
he didn't. He said F Christmas. And I thought
Right.
later on, I was thinking, oh, I wonder if that's what's going on. Maybe he turned into Krampus at the mall. That's where my brain went. That's where I
Well,
thought.
and that was an important part because Dan is talking to him and Dan's trying to get him onto the mic and he won't do it.
He won't do it.
And finally he writes a note that says F Christmas and he puts it up to the window of the booth so Dan can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan's just like, that's not very nice.
Right. And that's where he started drinking. And then
No, he was drinking from the moment he started.
Well, that's true. He was. And it was great because he made a joke about throwing something in the fire. And he said, oh, no, don't throw that in the fire. The alcohol. It's like, no, let's not waste that kind of thing. He just helped tie this movie together. William Shatner did.
Oh,
He really did. It was well done. It was that's the detail that really made this an enjoyable watch.
Well, William Shatner is a good storyteller to begin with.
Yeah.
Say what you will about his acting abilities, because we all make fun of William Shatner, but he is a fantastic storyteller and stuff. I've heard him in several interviews, and every time he tells stories, about his life and everything, it's just it's very he's very captivating. So to have him in this role is just I could not speak any higher for him in this film. He's the best.
Mm-hmm.
He's just incredible. I loved it.
Yep. So as we continue through and Santa is doing all this fighting and I mean just all the stuff he's doing to these elves. Gosh. It comes to a point where he's like, oh, it's the big battle between Krampus and Santa. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be epic.
Santa don't play.
Right?
That's all there is to it. Santa don't play.
Yeah. Santa just got finished having to kill his wife. And it was the actor who did that was so good.
Oh, I love this guy. He's awesome.
He was. He just sat there and was just like, he was like, oh no. I mean, you felt his ache that she had gotten infected too. And then you hear the crack of the neck, kind of a thing to, it was like, oh, it was a mercy killing. It wasn't like killing all the elves, which was just like, he was just going at it. However, he had to take them out. But
there was a few of the elves. He was like, oh man, I got to kill you,
yeah.
But
I know it's not you,
right.
He would say that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's why I say he would have been perfect in The Walking Dead. Cause there are some of the scenes in The Walking Dead where they are really over the top about having to kill somebody. And it's like, he has just enough of that little bit of mourning to show you, yes, he cares, but he knows he's got to do what's got to be done because he's Santa Claus, man.
Yep.
This is a cool Santa Claus. He's just freaking cool. Greg Booza was the actor that played him.
Okay. Well, he did good. It was
a fantastic job.
Yeah, it was good. So yeah, this is zombie. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is Christmas Eve. What's going to happen? How is he going to get the toys out? That's where your brain goes. But then you're like, oh my goodness, this is creative. Santa's really going to town with his special Santa North Pole staff cane.
I think this was the night Christmas didn't come.
Right, the night the reindeers died.
There you go.
The night the elves died. Holy moly! So,
and Santa went, "Screw this! I ain't going out tonight."
Right. So then there's the big battle with Krampus, and he's like, Santa's like, I knew it was you. Like,
yes.
Let's do this. I'm like, oh, it's going to be WWE SmackDown,
And at that point, we just watched Santa take out all the elves, I am assuming all the elves. So we watch him take all them out. And, you don't really think of Santa as the big badass, but at
Mhm.
this point, it's like, yeah, all right, I want to see this. And
Yeah.
Krampus is built. I mean, he's tough looking.
I thought, man, what wrestler did they get to play Krampus? I really did. I
Uh,
thought, I was like,
Krampus is
what?
played by Rob Archer.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Rob Archer. They didn't throw away the mold when it came to Rob Archer. He broke it at 6'7" and 285 pounds of solid etched muscle. That's
Oh,
for
he
sure.
was. Holy cow, right?
Archer moves like a comic book superhero come to life. Great description, too. As
Right.
an actor, he moves smoothly between playing the reoccurring role of Bioman on Defiance seasons 1, 2, and 3, and the recurring role of Bruce on Lost Girls seasons 3, 4, and 5. I've never watched either of those.
Mhm.
Webisodes 4 different characters on Warehouse 13. Oh, wow. I watched Warehouse 13. Guest starred as Brian on 13, the series, Vernon Hicks in the Samaritan, and Buzz on Bulletproof. So,
Oh, Samaritan. We did a review on that.
oh yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, the Sylvester Stallone one.
Yeah, so he again. I think the top 3 things about this movie, top best things, was William Shatner, Santa Claus, and Krampus. So,
Yep. So let me all right, so here we go with the big twist, everybody. We ready? We're gonna here's where it comes. So I'm gonna read what it says in Wikipedia. We're just continuing that.
okay.
So so while preparing for Christmas, Santa Claus discovers that all of his elves and his wife have turned into zombies after one of the infected elves dies following a fit of rage. He manages to kill them all, but then is forced to fight against Krampus. However, right when he's about to kill Krampus, okay, it's revealed that Santa is actually a mall Santa named Norman, the weather forecaster on Dangerous Dan's radio show, who had a psychotic break while working overtime that caused him to see regular mall goers, and I'd say in workers, as zombies during the Christmas food drive. The police arrive and manage to gun him down just as he goes to kill Krampus, revealed to be the mall's manager, Mr. Taylor.
Right.
Yeah. And this is the disturbance that Dangerous Dan has been referencing through the whole thing.
Right.
And what was gut-wrenching from a horror movie perspective was the fact that it was playing out it showed like flashbacks of some of the instances of Santa Claus killing the elves or things that happened to him. There were actually things happening at the mall.
Yeah, you saw it in the
Oh.
POV of Norman doing it, and they would flash to the scene that you would see in the Santa Claus episode, and you would see, oh crap, he's actually just killing some normal mall worker.
Yeah, you're like, oh my gosh. You
And
know?
when he's going to kill Krampus, like you said, that's the manager, and he's wearing reindeer antlers because Krampus has the big antlers and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it was funny. You know, it was funny. It was a good twist, but at the same time, I wanted the real Santa versus Krampus.
Right.
I was like, wait a minute, but I want that movie.
So everybody, our next AI story is going to be Krampus versus Santa Claus versus Krampus. We'll have the AI do the whole thing, do the whole title and everything. The night the elves died. or wait a minute. Krampus dies tonight.
Blood on the sleigh.
Oh my gosh, we could have so much fun with that. Special Christmas Eve episode of Two Geeks and a Microphone. You write the story with us. But I was shocked at that twist. I really was. And I did think that they could do a follow-up because the whatchamacallit, the girl, the pregnant the girl that got pregnant and stuff.
Yeah,
and
she lived.
she lived. So
She lived. I mean, well, she lived. The mother and the son are alive, so they're fine. Dangerous Dan's alive.
Dangerous
He's
Dan's
fine.
alive. Yeah.
He's fine. So,
It does give you perspective on why he drinks on Christmas and why he works on Christmas.
Look, I've had some Christmases that were driving me to drink, so I can understand.
Right.
I get it.
Well, I'm at the in-laws.
Right. I get it. I completely get it.
This is called my deal with you juice. Just saying.
I deal with you. Oh, that's funny.
So I enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a great recommendation compared because it was much more better
Much more better.
than Werewolf Santa.
That's not setting the bar. You trip over that bar.
I told my wife Kelly, I said, Werewolf Santa, worst movie ever.
Oh my god. Brenda was like, "Is it really that bad?" I go, "I'd rather watch paint dry." I said, "Okay, I'll tell you how bad it is. I'd rather watch your stupid reality shows with all the hot people running around the island, which I hate. I hate those stupid shows. I'd rather watch those than watch Werewolf Santa again. It's that bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
If I had to watch between Werewolf Santa and Christmas Horror Story, I would watch Christmas Horror Story again.
Oh, definitely. Christmas Horror Story is a much better movie. Much more better.
Cheers, everybody.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
all right. So 6.5 for me. Krampus statues, broken Krampus statues.
Yes.
It's 6 and then half of a Krampus statue.
I gave it a 7. It was worth seeing.
Yes, agreed.
It was worth seeing. The twists at the end were just like, this is actually halfway decent storytelling. It really was.
Not bad.
And
I was just a little confused with the whole kids in the school. That one kind of confused me, threw me off a little bit.
It was different. It really was kind of a thing.
But I enjoyed the family going to get the Christmas tree. I enjoyed that story with the changeling, and I absolutely love the Krampus versus Santa Claus story and the zombie elves. In fact, I just want a full movie of that.
Yeah.
I want that movie to be made now so I can just watch that and just see Santa just, killing all the elves and, that and then this big, huge, no holds barred battle between Santa Claus and Krampus. Yeah, I want it. I want that.
Yeah.
So I was slightly disappointed. I mean, I get the ending. It made total sense. It was a good ending. It works. But at the same time, I went, but I want to see who actually would win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that sense, I was just slightly disappointed. But other than that, yeah, it's a good movie. I would, if you like horror movies and you like a Christmas twisted horror movie, definitely check this out. But again, doesn't make the rotation. It's not one I'm going to have to watch every single year. I mean, I got to watch Violent Night in a couple weeks here, in the next couple weeks for sure. So
yeah,
that one, Violent Night, that makes the Christmas rotation.
It does. It does. I have not watched it yet, nor have I watched. My favorite Christmas movie is, happens at Nakatomi Towers, Die Hard.
Nice.
So,
and I watched that for the first time ever last year when we reviewed it. I had never actually watched Die Hard. I didn't see it, when I was a kid, and everyone made such a big deal out of it. I kind of prided myself. Well, I've never seen it, So you broke me down. I watched it. I liked it. It's a good movie. I figured I would like it anyway. It's Bruce Willis, and I like Bruce Willis. So
Yeah.
I like almost every Bruce Willis movie I've ever seen. So I didn't doubt I would enjoy it. But yeah, it was just one of those ones everyone's like, well, you got to watch it. So I just didn't watch it.
Right.
I'm kind of weird that way.
There was, I saw an advent calendar where it's,
Oh,
it's 25 stories in Nakatomi Towers, and then he just keeps falling. And then that's your advent calendar. When Christmas comes is when he hits the bottom.
I actually have not watched I've only watched one Christmas movie so far, other than all the Christmas horror movies. You and I are watching. But every year, either evening of Thanksgiving or Black Friday, Megan and I have a holiday tradition. We have to watch Christmas Vacation. That is the kickoff to Christmas. So we watched it, and I love Christmas Vacation. It is my all-time favorite Christmas movie. So yeah, I've watched that one, but I haven't watched my other staples yet, which would be Scrooged, Muppets Christmas Carol, now Violent Night.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't watched any of those yet, but as we get closer to Christmas, I'll be watching those.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching Violent Night. We usually do Christmas Story. You should try out, kid. I'm not
the biggest fan of that movie, actually.
There's certain parts of it I enjoy and I laugh about, and so I have to watch it now. I've seen it so many times I don't really watch it anymore.
See, I think Scrooged is a better movie, and I think Christmas Vacation is definitely a better movie.
I know. Yeah. What else do I watch? Oh, Jingle All the Way.
Oh, yeah, I haven't watched that in a long time.
Yeah.
You know, another one that's good is what is it? Christmas with the Kringles.
With the Cranks?
Yeah, or Cranks, that's it. Christmas with the Cranks.
Tim Allen, right?
Tim Allen, and yeah. Alien.
Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver. No, is it Sigourney? Yeah,
Sigourney
Weaver.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen Christmas with the Cranks.
No, it's not Sigourney Weaver. Oh my gosh, hang on.
While you're looking that up, Theron said Gremlins. That's a good Christmas movie.
What was?
Gremlins.
Oh, Gremlins. Never really thought of that. Oh, and I gotta watch
Turbo Man is knockoff Iron Man. Yes, that is correct. It's Turbo time.
And I also gotta watch Batman Returns because that is a Christmas movie.
That is.
Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis. Why couldn't I think of Jamie Lee Curtis of Halloween?
Yep, there goes.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Levi. Jamie Lee Curtis. Well done. Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually not a half bad movie. That's pretty decent. So if you're looking for a fairly good one, and Santa Claus, of course, Santa Claus with Tim Allen, great one.
The first one. Have you seen the new series, the Disney Plus series?
I watched the one last year. I haven't watched any of season 2 yet.
I have not watched season 2 yet either.
Season 1 I enjoyed. Season 1 was good. I got a little annoyed with the one elf. He kind of got on my nerves after a while, but other than him, I thought it was a decent show. It was fun. Very much in the vein of the Santa Claus movies. And how can you not like Tim Allen? Come on. I love Tim Allen. I mean, I've been a fan of Tim Allen since his stand-up days before he actually got the show Home Improvement. And I'll never forget when he got signed for Home Improvement, I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, because all of his stand-up stuff just got incorporated into that show. And it was just like, oh my gosh, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. I loved it. So yeah, like the whole barbecue pit exploding and just so many good things in his skits. Go back and watch Tim Allen's old stand-up if you want some good stuff. If you like comedy and you like stand-up comedy, definitely watch Tim Allen's old stand-up stuff. It's great. Just fantastic. All right.
Cool beans. That is everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Two Geeks and a Microphone, where we discussed a Christmas horror story. It was good stuff. And And so we enjoyed it. If you watch it, please let us know in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. If you have seen it and enjoyed it, or what were your favorite parts? And see, now my brain's on Krampus versus Santa. Krampus dies tonight.
I want that movie, man. I want that movie.
Hey, you know what? With AI the way it's going nowadays, we could probably make it.
We can make it better than Werewolf Santa.
Absolutely.
I think you and I, and Three Geeky Dads, we should all get together and make our own werewolf Santa Claus.
Right. I love it. Well, hey, everybody, please, if you ever want to reach out to us and talk to us, the best place to do it is show@twogeeksmike.com. If you want to check out our website, which is www.geeksmike.com. That's all things to geekdom. And check us out there. You can get to our merch page, or you can do this website, which is bikemerch.com.
And that's also the number 2.
The number 2. You can go that and it'll go directly to our merch page, but also on that page, all things Two Geeks, kind of what's coming up on the shows. I try to do my best to update at the beginning of each month, so you know what's happening that month. That we're kind of excited. We may have some changes coming up this month, and so we'll let you know as things go. But pretty exciting stuff that we got coming up. If you want to help support us, please check out our website at ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/2geeks, which that's where you can help support us. We got 3 different little tiers, and it's just a way to help support us so that we can just pay for doing the podcast, paying to the video podcast. That's all that money goes to. So we do make jokes about going to Mike's Lamborghini, but unfortunately it got repoed because we didn't get enough on our Ko-fi page. So please support us. Oh gosh. So go ahead.
And if you've made it this far, please go and like and subscribe to us on both Facebook and here on YouTube or Twitch if you're watching us on Twitch, so on and so forth, or for that matter, if you're watching us on X, subscribe to us there. Make sure and give the bell a little tickle. That will give you notifications of every time we go live. We go live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. That's Central Standard Time. You do the math on the rest, because I don't like math. All right.
That does it, everybody. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. Mike, do you have anything else to say?
I do not. So I guess we are done with this episode. So with that said, over and out, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Krampus.